Hey Iron Man, guess whose book has the 25th issue out this week? Not you. Spider-Man. Hi, I'm Jason Inman. I like to read comics. That's why in the week of January 15th, I read all the Marvel Now comic books that were published in the world. I'm going to give each of these a buy it, skip it, or borrow it rating. But before I get to that, don't forget to go to majorspoilers.com, the comic website where they know that you love comic books, and we do too. Now enough of this annoying jibba jabba, let's get on to some reviews. All New X-Men number 21. The amazing art abilities of Brandon Peterson are put on display in this issue when he flashes back to the old classic X-Men story, God Loves, Man Kill. You get to see Reverend Stryker again, and he does it in a very classic Neil Adams-ish 80s style, and it really works. But the rest of this issue really doesn't work. There's not much that happens. The all-new X-Men, the X-Men from the 1960s, are just tied up. They meet Stryker's son. You find out that Stryker's son has powers, and they just sit around there. X-23 is now on the team, and it's kind of nice that through the mentioning of the events of this issue, that Avengers Arena and all her events are actually mentioned. So it's nice to see that that book has consequences on the Marvel U. Otherwise, this is basically a big filler issue. So I would say this is a skip it. Amazing X-Men number 3. In this book, Henry McCoy, flying across the pirate ship against Azazel, says, you know, I don't really believe in all this stuff. I'm kind of agnostic. And I kind of want to be agnostic to this entire issue. I love the art by Ed McGuinness, and I love Kurt Wagner, the great and amazing Nightcrawler, but I don't really like anything else in this book. This is a definite skip it. Daredevil number 35. Holy moly, sweet sassafras and holy Sasquatch. The ending of this book must be read to believe. Just when you thought that Daredevil could not have a cliffhanger that was any bigger than the cliffhanger that you had seen before, he goes and tops it. Mark Waid does an amazing job. Chris Samney art. You will not believe this ending. This ending literally slapped me across the face. Daredevil slapping a ninja hand style. Go buy this book. Fantastic Four number 16. The beginning of this book comes off like a piece of fan fiction that Matt Fraction has always wanted to write his entire life. Basically, we got Dr. Doom, and he's got the powers of a nihilist, and he's got the powers of Kang, and he's just walking around New York being like, zappity, 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 zoo, and just blowing up buildings. And the Fantastic Four are like, oh no, he's zappity, 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 zoo. How do we stop the zappity, 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 zoo? I don't know, Sue. See it rhyme? See it? Get it? All right, never mind. Anyways, so they beat him, and they dispatch him pretty quickly, and then the book suddenly takes a turn, and Mike Allred comes in the art, and we get a conclusion to the FF Fantastic Four run. We get to see how the Future Foundation is settled, how all that stuff is settled, and when it settles down to these nice quiet moments, which is what really works in the Fantastic Four, and you know I love me some Fantastic Four, it works. It really works. The end of this book really works, and it kind of just goes to illustrate that this run could have been so great. This could have been an amazing Fantastic Four run, but it didn't quite get there. And I don't know whether it didn't quite get there because of Matt Fraction or if it didn't quite get there because of Marvel editors and being like, we want to change this book and tie in Inhumanity and la 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 la. Jonathan Hickman, write more stuff. I don't know. I don't know what happened in this book, but this is a nice little issue, a nice little capstone. I don't think this Fantastic Four run is going to be remembered as anything great. I think it's just going to be kind of like, well, if you're bored, read some Fantastic Four. Still, Mike Allred art, great, so borrow from a friend. INHUMANITY, Spider-Man number 1. There's a great scene in this book where the Superior Spider-Man makes one of his Spider Army lackeys bow down and follow the orders of a firefighter. And he says, those are the ones that deserve your respect. I'm secretly Doc Ock. I'm Peter Parker. Ho, I shouldn't give away my secret identity. But other than that scene, the rest of this book is a major skip it. Miracleman number 1. This book is a whopper. At $5.99, this is a thick book. It's over 50 pages. But you know what? I have been looking forward to this book for a long time. I've always wanted to read Miracleman, even back in the days of old Wizard magazine, the classic comic tome that everybody calls from, and everybody that's now works in the comic industry seems to have worked at one time. I've always wanted to read Miracleman ever since those issues, and so I'm glad that Marvel is finally putting him out. But it's kind of nice because this is like the Criterion collection of comic books, and I hope that every issue is this way. I hope that every issue comes with like an old Miracleman storyline, and then an interview with one of the creators, and then another Miracleman storyline, and then the main meat in the middle that is the storyline that's collected. I can't wait to read all of these. I hope every issue is like this. If you are any type of a comic book fan, if you've never read Miracleman before, even if you have read Miracleman before, I would say this is a definite buy it just for the experience of that piece of comic book history. Because you know what? We've got to show Alan Moore that if you sell his creations to the highest bidder, somebody will read them and make them number 1. Ha ha! That's to you, old wizard in England somewhere. Please don't hex me. Buy this book. Nova number 12. A fun little space romp through space, basically, in the ship. And the really cool moment when you find out that an old former member of the Nova Corps can power a ship. Like, he's like the warp core. He's like the dilithium crystals on the Enterprise, except you stick a Nova in there. I would rather have seen that scene in this book than the book that we got. But, you know, this book was fun. It had cool little art. And Beta Ray Bill, the best Thor character ever, showed up at the end of this. But otherwise, it's a borrow it from a friend. Secret Avengers number 14. Let me break down this book for you. MODOK likes ice cream, they're all stuck on a submarine, and Butch Geist draws some pretty spy antics. That's about the whole book. It's borrow it from a friend. Superior Spider-Man number 25, and here it is, the beginning, the tantals, the morsels of a beginning of the return of the amazing Spider-Man. Now, I'm not going to go in super crazy, amazing detail on this because I just wrote a review for this on majorspoilers.com. The link is downstairs in the description if you want to read a full description, full written description of written words, of prose, if you say, instead of auditory. And an auditory adventure, we have a prose adventure. Anyways, this is a great celebratory book. It has Peter Parker returning. I won't tell you how he returns, but it's something that we should have seen miles and miles away. This should have been obvious to us, but we didn't catch it. We have a little bit of a goblin war, which I think is brewing too. We're going to have a goblin war. All these goblins. We have Hobgoblin, Menace, all these people. I think we're going to involve a whole bunch of spiders. I think I'm going to throw out a secret theory here. I think that Peter Parker is going to somehow come back, and I also think, I kind of wonder if we're going to somehow have Doc Ock as a Spider-Man too. I don't know. Like, you know, there is a spider clone out there. His name is Kane. He's a Scarlet Spider. Why couldn't there be another one and he's a Superior Spider-Man? I kind of feel that that's maybe where they're going to go with this. I could be wrong. How cool would that be? I love me some Superior Spider-Man. Superior Venom Spider-Man versus the Avengers. This is a definite buy it. And it's oversized, so buy it twice. Give it to Grandma as Christmas gift in 2014. Thor, God of Thunder, number 17. After the epic that was God Bomb with the excellent Butcher, the God Butcher, it would not be surprising that every storyline after doesn't quite live up. This one with Malekith from the movie that seemed forced by Marvel editorial because, hey, we got to tie into the movie, y'all, is not as good as God Bomb. It's basically Malekith fights Thor, and then he gets to become king somehow through back-ended politics, and it's just like, okay, wow, if I wanted to watch bad politics, I'd go put in Star Wars Episode 1, because, you know, I love me some writing about tax tariffs. Don't you? It's exciting. Tax code AB, circle in, point off your 2% off your gross income while you fraction it in half off your health care coverage. It's exciting. It's exciting in comic books. It's exciting in movies, right? Anyways, this has a mad art shift. It's not Esad Ribic, who is amazing. It's Ron Garney and another gentleman whose name I can't remember. And it kind of is a step down. This seems like it's a setup arc building up to something that's coming. They mentioned a war on the last page. Hopefully that comes. Hopefully it comes soon. Hopefully it's as good as Walsheimer's as Ragnarok. But for now, I say this is a skip it. Thunderbolts number 20. Now! This is what I like to call the Thunderbolt Red Team because they all have red colors. You know, Punisher, you get it? You get it? Yeah. Basically, the team just kind of sits around. They kind of talk. You find out Frank Castle's reason for staying on the team. And then Ghost Rider shows up. Woohoo! Here come the 90s. Back in our comic books. Yeah! It's a fun little issue. You know, I'd say borrow from a friend. Uncanny X-Force number 16. Bishop and Hope Summers finally get to have the scene that they should have had years ago in the Cable series. And they finally get to talk in a cell, but it's interrupted by Strife. Yep, Strife, the big Rob Liefeld, spiky helmeted Cable clone from X-Force days. So, woohoo! Here come the 90s, back in our comic books. Bring back the knee pads and big guns. Is my favorite time of comic books. Isn't it your favorite time? Anyways, it's kind of a good issue because you see Cable's X-Force team fight Storm's X-Force team, and they have a big brouhaha. I'm not really sure why Strife is back, but you know what? This is the best issue of X-Force I've read in a long time, so I'd say borrow it from a friend. Uncanny X-Men number 16. There's a new Madripoor out there, and it's run by Mystique. Also, fun fact, you get to find out that Alison Blair Dazzler has kind of been Mystique for this whole series, so it makes her inclusion into the series not be a waste of time. Ooh, yeah. Anyways, Magneto goes to Madripoor, and he gets all angry at Mystique, and he's just like, I shall bring you death, my blue friend. That was my baddie in the Kellen. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm going to work on a Michael Fassbender so I can, you know, when the Magneto series hits, I can just do it all in Fassbender's lines, and it'll be spectacular and amazing. Anyways, this is a great setup for Magneto #1. Chris Bacalo art. Bacalo? Help me out in the comments. Help me out downstairs. I don't know how you say his name. Anyway, he has great art, no matter how you say his name, and this book is fun. This book is great. I would say this is a definite buy it. X-Men Legacy #22. Thank God this book is being canceled. Who wants to read a book about Legion and his bad, spiky, pointy hair? Skip it. And my pick for this week is Daredevil #35. If you only have one comic book to buy this week, you should buy Daredevil. That's why, because it's all about a trial, and it's all about a big revelation. Chris Samney's art. I mean, he fights a little racist guy. It's called the Sons of Serpent, but you know what? If you got to punk your money down on a comic book, and you only got one comic book to do it, I would first say go for Miracleman, but you know what? Daredevil's more fun, and Miracleman's a little bit more expensive. So if you can buy two comic books, then go Daredevil, then go Miracleman. But you get me. Daredevil #35. And that's all the Marvel Now comic books for January 15th. As always, go to majorspoilers.com, the comic website where you love comic books, and we do too. I have a written review of Superior Spider-Man #25. Go there, check it out. Link is in the description. Hey, you know what? Have you been watching Geek Tea, the awesome conversational television, not really television, it's on YouTube, conversation show with me and one other person? We drink tea and we talk about pop culture. First episode of Scott Lobdell. Future episodes have some spectacular guests. I've got some Sterling Gates as a guest coming up. I've got some Two Bro Geeks as a guest coming out, and lots of cool people. So that'll be happening on Wednesdays. Go check it out. As always, leave in the comments. Tell me what you would like me to review next week. Tell me what comic books you're reading, and tell me if you think I'm a blustering idiot. Maybe I am. Let me know in the comments. It's the only way I'll ever find out and be able to fill it out on insurance forms. Thank you all for watching. Please like, favorite, and subscribe this video, and share with your friends. The more that we share our love for comic books, the more that comic books will come into the mainstream and never go away. And that's a dream that I want to happen. I want my great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren to still be reading comic books about Deadpool. Who doesn't, right? I know I do. Yeah. I'm Jason Inman. I love comic books. I internet love you. Be seeing you. My favorite Tim Allen role is Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Does that say a lot when my favorite role of his is when you do not see his face at all?
It says that he's such an amazing actor.
Woohoo! Here come the 90s up in our comic books. Let's wear some leather pads and have some really good looks. That version rhymed.